What the hell happened out there, Commander?
That's certainly the question of the hour, isn't it? Let me be very clear. I was excited for this movie. Granted, cautiously excited, but this was the movie I was looking forward to in 2020. The first Wonder Woman is my favorite in the DCEU, and I've gone on record to say that it just might be one of my favorite superhero movies, if not my favorite of all time. It was my #1 favorite flick of 2017, it shifted the DCEU in a better direction, and put both Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins on the map. With all that said, articles had been circling the internet for some time by this point, but I was brushing them off as either a writer who was just looking for something to hate, or the cast and crew foolishly overstating the film's themes. Still, I guess this put me on edge, and I was low-key expecting to be disappointed. What's that phrase again? Hope for the best, plan for the worst. But for the sheer disappointment that awaited all of us, I was not prepared.
You are not prepared!
Let's get into this. This is my deep dive into Wonder Woman 1984. Hera, give me strength. We start the movie off with a sweeping shot of the beautiful Themyscira. I'll never get tired of how gorgeous this gets. And we arrive at a coliseum where the Amazons are warming up for a series of games. But the headliner seems to be a race that Diana, reprised by Lilia Spell, seems to be allowed to partake in, despite her young age. I won't lie, some red flags immediately went up right now. I was dreading how this was going to play out. Like Diana was going to be a modern Disney princess. Perfect. She would win, and the more seasoned Amazons would be humbled. And at first, that seems to be the case. Diana is keeping up with these Amazons that are significantly taller than she is, and should be easily capable of outrunning her. But no, Diana's kind of smoking them. Contrary to what this movie thinks, this isn't making Diana look badass, it's making the Amazons look incompetent. In the last film, the Amazons were given such weight on how badass they were. These women of literal all shapes and sizes were women that Diana was aspiring to be, tapping into that inner child many of us had. This was something any one of us could relate to. And now she's being portrayed as not just an equal, but a superior. I don't mind Diana being in this race. Hell, I don't even mind her being halfway decent at these obstacles. She is, after all, being trained at this time by her aunt Antiope, played by Robin Wright. So it's likely that she's picked up more than a few skills, but to outclass seasoned Amazons. Bro, you lost me. But I have to admit, the way this ends redeemed the crap out of it in my eyes. Sidestepping the occasional poor green screening, Diana essentially cheats to stay ahead of the other competitors. And just as she's about to win the contest, Antiope stops her, preventing Diana from winning. I fell in love with this, because it seemed like the very antithesis of a Disney flick. Cheating your way to victory is not the answer. I think any kid around Diana's age can say that they've cheated at least once at a game. I've certainly been guilty of being a sore loser, but this is still a really good lesson to teach. If you want to be the best, you can't cheat your way to the top, implying that you have to work at it. Yes, there is that whole truth is all there is, owning up to your mistakes and acknowledging what you are and are not ready for, and those are good lessons too. Sure, you can argue that the message is a bit jumbled, pick a lesson to learn and roll with it, but I was back on board. Things took a nosedive fast. Okay, fine. We get a cutesy save from Wonder Woman, kicking a car away from running over a jogger. Okay, she saves this bride from falling to her death, but does nothing to stop the shoplifting teen girls who put that poor woman in that position in the first place? Wait, but What about that lesson not 30 seconds ago? If you want something, you have to work at it. Not to mention the near involuntary manslaughter. What is going on here? Setting up lessons that we're already abandoning? What are we doing here?
Do you have everything you've ever wanted?
Well, I guess that would be a little distracting in the middle of a mall. Did they actually do that back in the day? I mean, I am recounting that scene from Bill and Ted with Joan of Arc, but... If this was my only problem with the movie, it'd be a legitimately great film. A group of thieves try to rob a jewelry store, but things turn south real fast.
I'm not going back!
I really felt the tension in your prolonged no, dude. With the passion of dispassion. Okay, so truth be told, I am mostly on board with this opening mall scene with Wonder Woman. You got a classic bust through the glass ceiling bit, though the more I think about it, I'm surprised no one ever gets cut from the falling shards. Wonder Woman saves the little girl, dramatic entrance, and even this exchange between the robber and Diana feels like on-point fun. He saw what he saw, draws his gun anyway, but Diana's giving him a look like, yeah, right, bro. And Diana holding out her hand to give the guy a chance to surrender. Yeah, you know what? I like that. Even here, Diana's trying to be warm and caring. I'm still on board here. She uses her tiara as a tool for throwing, though I'm not entirely sure why. The CCTV cameras probably recorded her, and I doubt she's made the time to gather up those tapes. So that means she's destroying company property, which is vandalism, which makes Wonder Woman as criminal as these criminals. I'm sorry, what movie am I watching again? We have this weird cartoonish moment, and then...
Oh my gosh.
Kid, first off, life-threatening situation. Don't make the superhero's job any harder. And second, where the hell is your mom?
Hold tight.
Even Justice League wasn't this cutesy pandering. I have no idea what's even happening here. Is she running really fast or skating on the ground?
Sorry, okay?
Did that shush apply to the entire mall? I can't believe that everybody kept their mouths shut. Yes. Destroy the cop car when you could have easily dumped the criminals to the left of it, to the right of it, or any frickin' where else. Can we bring attention to the fact that Wonder Woman has caused more damage than the actual bad guys so far? Now we're in Diana's home, and I do like seeing these old photographs of her friends after the war. And you know what? I think this shot of Diana and an aged Etta Candy is extremely bittersweet. At long last, some legit emotions in this movie. Kinda sad that it's because we're reminiscing about the previous film. Says a lot about this one. And we're not even 20 minutes in. Still, I don't have a problem with the following sequence, with Diana enjoying a glass of wine by herself. I mean, it is a bit forced to see all of these couples surrounding her to unnecessarily emphasize her loneliness, but Godot's subtle expressions, they're legit heartbreaking. All of her friends have passed away, and I imagine that takes a special toll on you. Now, I've seen it argued online that it's not great for Diana's character to be still pining, no pun intended, for Steve Trevor after 60 years. I don't know, I'm actually kind of forgiving of this notion. One of the big selling points of the original film was the romance between Diana and Steve. Sure, they hadn't known each other that long, had sex once, but their relationship was a dynamic one with lots of heart and passion. This might be a false equivalence, but some of the more celebrated romance of all time have been brief flings. Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, Casablanca's Rick and Ilsa, Terminator's Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor, and I'm sure many others. I mean, yeah, Romeo and Juliet died together in the end, and Sarah Connor didn't spend 60 years obsessing over Reese, but still, no one batted an eyelash when she said,
In the few hours that we had together, we loved a lifetime's worth.
basically, I'm okay with suspending my disbelief here. Steve was a fairy tale, once-in-a-lifetime romance for her. But now we get into one of the more infuriating elements of this movie, Kristen Wiig as Barbara Minerva. Make no mistake, I love Kristen Wiig as an actress, whether she's doing comedy or drama. But goddamn, she's usually better utilized than this. Why would you get an actress as good and talented as Wiig and have her play the dorky stereotype who drops her briefcase full of papers and no one helps her pick them up? You know, tropes like this may fly in high school settings. No, they don't. But not in the adult world. At least someone should be doing something decent to help this poor girl. I've worked jobs where I've worked with people I did not want to interact with. But you kind of have to, so there's no hostility in the workplace that could cause a disturbance and get you and the other person in trouble. But this level of apathy is borderline sociopathic, and I wouldn't even accept professionalism as an excuse, as part of being professional is being civil and courteous to your coworkers, whether you directly work with them or not. Jesus Christ. If any of you have seen me at my job, me saying all of that is 50 Shades of hilarious and all kinds of hypocritical. But of course, resident gal pal, get it, swoops in to be the only decent human being on the planet and helps out.
Those are cool. I like those. Animal print.
Oh my god, no. Bad, Kristen, bad. Wait, who do I be mad at? Do I be mad at Kristen or Patty Jenkins for her direction? You know what? Bad movie.
My help? Yeah, I'll help the FBI with whatever they need.
Stop it! In the next scene, we have Barbara helping to identify the relics that were about to be stolen by the mall robbers, and Diana drops by.
What is it?
You want to take that?
Wig, our immature minds know exactly what to call it. It's a sex toy! It fucking looks like one, and you know it!
Place upon the object held but one great wish.
So many things I don't even know what I would wish for.
I do.
Why did Steve coming back make the watch suddenly work? Diana and Barbara hang out, and
You're so personable. So free.
who the hell are we talking about? The impersonator of bad Melissa McCarthy movies? Also weird phrasing. Free. Jump to the next scene where Barbara is walking home.
I'm not going home.
Or whatever her next destination was supposed to be, and this chap gets a little too friendly. Basically, it's an assault scene and Diana saves Barbara. Now, the simple act of having this in this movie is not inherently a bad idea. In fact, I would argue that it's almost essential to show Wonder Woman saving another woman from sexual assault at least once on the big screen. But this did put me on edge for a fair while. An article came to my attention, and it painted a scene where Wonder Woman shows up somewhere and paints a picture of how the men just ogle her and see her as a piece of meat. At the time, I dismissed it as a writer who was virtue signaling. Still, when you get multiple articles that make the movie sound less appealing as they appear, I guess one of them would be right eventually. Barbara goes to the museum, contemplates having girl time with the toy,
I do know what I'd wish for. To be like Diana.
or my dirty ass mind needs to shut the hell up. I'm sorry, this is very distracting. This had to be a running joke on set. No, she wishes to be like Diana, which works because the following morning, everyone's talking to her and being respectful, which of course extends to our resident bad guy, Maxwell Lord, played by Pedro Pascal. And around here is when I started to have some serious problems with Lord. For those not in the know, I am not a comic nerd. I do not read comics at all. The first Walking Dead compendium and a few issues of the Injustice Gods Among Us comics because I was a fan of the Injustice video games. Beyond that, That's it. I have only 2 exposures to the character of Maxwell Lord. The episode Ultimatum on Justice League Unlimited, which was a brief, almost pointless role where he was a caring but ambitious, wealthy man in over his head. The other being CW's Supergirl. And considering I don't like that show very much, of course I wouldn't remember one of the earlier big bads. I just remember him being a discount Lex Luthor. So I truly had no idea what Lord is supposed to be like. But I tell you this now. I don't care if this is a pitch-perfect representation of Lord's character. I would never want to see this outside of a Nick Jr. cartoon. I haven't seen Pascal in many things. No, I haven't seen The Mandalorian. But his performance is so hammy that I can't even see Shazam wanting to bother with this guy. What's even worse is that this brings down Wig to a cringe level that I never wanted to see out of her. I would complain about Diana's out-of-nowhere dislike for Lord, but I genuinely hate the character so much that Wonder Woman's expressions make me feel validated.
I'm gonna punch a hole in your head.
Getting drunk. Red wine trying to come up. After we hammer home exactly what I think of Maxwell Lord, being a loser that is.
I am not a loser. He's a loser.
Yeah, of course you're not.
And he will rue the day he walked away from me.
What, the kindergarten schoolyard insults weren't enough? We had to throw in cliched lines too? I'll tell you who's doing the ruining around here. It's that little kid who looks like he's ruining the day his parents made him be in this movie. After everyone dresses up and looking fresh as fuck, they all head to the party hosted by Lord. And yes, I'm assuming that this is the scene that one article was describing. I mean, technically, I guess the article wasn't wrong. You do get a few guys checking out Diana, but I was expecting something far more egregious.
She got one of those mouths, those mouths you could just fuck all day.
Well, shit, maybe the flight gets boring, we can all get lucky.
Oh, maybe you can get lucky with one hand, but she's gonna need both hands from me, boy.
That's the kind of thing I was expecting. Honestly, it's kind of quick and not that big of a deal. But more importantly, I think it's there strategically. I'll swing back on it in a minute. Lord puts the moves on Barbara, and they find privacy in her office.
What is that?
You just took her exclusive, son. She'll show you exactly what it is. Look, the next time we see this thing, it dissolves and disappears from the movie. I had to get at least one more joke out. Cut away to Diana wandering around, fighting off advances from men. Remember when I said that I think these ogling men were inserted strategically? Here's where I think it comes into play. It's supposed to build up her annoyance. So when Handsome Man shows up, yes, that is literally what he's credited as. Handsome! Diana's too frustrated to give this guy the time of day to say that he's Steve. So while it is kind of a weak excuse to have all these thirsty men be lining up like they do, and ultimately isn't all that necessary, it's there for a reason. By the way, everybody, let me introduce you to Christopher Palaha. No, I don't know the man personally, but I know his body of work, kinda. I know him from the ill-fated TV show Birds of Prey that ran from 2002 to 2003. I did a video on my favorite and least favorite episodes. Check that out if you wish. But Palaha was in one episode. Not even the best episode, but I find it funny that the man made a reappearance into the DC universe in some capacity. Actually, come to think of it, that seems to be a common thing for this movie. Did you know that Pascal was in the Wonder Woman TV show that never took off back in 2011? A mostly forgotten and not so popular TV show, and a TV show that never saw the light of day. Suddenly too much is making sense. Okay, I'm assuming we all know what happens here. Make us dizzy by circling around the actors and, surprise, Handsome Man
So handsome!
is actually Captain Kirk! Or fine, Steve Trevor. The two share a passionate kiss, leave the party, and start to catch up. Aw, how sweet. The fairy tale romance is rekindled. Oh, it's so cute. Why the hell was Diana even at the party then? Oh, you thought I was going to touch upon the body swap thing. Don't worry, we'll get to that. But first, really look at the chain of events. The Dreamstone was originally meant to be shipped to Lord. She goes to the gala, presumably to confront Lord about what he knows about the stone. But she never has that conversation with him, despite twice knowing exactly where he is. So while he's schmoozing with bombshell Wig over here, that's redundant, Wig is already a bombshell. What was Diana's objective here, and why is she so inept at accomplishing it? I get that some extenuating circumstances got in the way. Hello, dead boyfriend ain't so dead anymore. But the entire driving force of this movie has been abandoned to make room for this romance. Easiest fix that I can come up with is Diana telling Steve, bro, I think I know what's going on. Wait outside. Let me figure this out. Pull Lord from Barbara's thirsty embrace and tell the dude what's what. Get the Dreamstone out of his grasp. Movie over. But that's obviously not how this plays out. Now I do have to admit, moral questions on the back burner, I do like how these next series of events are written. Steve's inability to explain the afterlife, simply calling it good, his own wonder for modern day airplanes, there's a Spielberg quality to how enamored he is with it. Even once we get to Handsome Man's place, hello, handsome, Godot and Pine still have great chemistry together. Pine is still charming and fun. Godot looks at Pine like I look at the IHOP cupcake pancakes. But then reality slaps me in the face, making light of the fact that this man's life has been put on hold so you two can get reacquainted. You'll pardon me, but I don't think this should be shrugged off. Cut to the next scene where Lord fondles the Dreamstone. Wait, I have one more joke! Would you like some whipped cream for your little buddy there? Okay, I'm done, I swear! Lord wishes to have the powers of the Dreamstone. It dissolves. Rest in peace, immature sex toy jokes. Barbara wakes up the next morning and discovers that she doesn't know her own strength. Okay, legit, I love that reaction out of Wig. Please tell me that she didn't know that that fridge door would break off, because that looked like a real reaction there. Red alert! Red alert! I need an adult! Are you kidding me right now? He's in another man's body! Doesn't matter if Steve's face is all that you see. That's not the reality! Handsome Man
So handsome!
has not consented to the sex! I guess if you really wanted to bury your head in the sand and pretend this isn't as bad as it looks, you could always lie to yourself and say that it's not explicitly said that the two had sex. It's remotely possible that they literally just slept together. But that's Max 0647 JD level of remote. It's the farthest known galaxy from the Milky Way. I really wanted to hammer home my point. And I saw that tweet that Patty Jenkins liked that defends the body swapping trope. Let's get into that. This is going to be a tirade, so if you want to avoid it and just get on with the review, jump to this timecode. Twitter user Dusty Don't Shoot in his post titled My Defense of Wonder Woman 1984's Usage of the Body Swap Trope, his post reads, I'm linking the wiki to the body swap movie genre. Listen to this. Body swaps have been a common storytelling device in fiction media. Novels such as Vice Versa and Freaky Friday have inspired numerous film adaptations and retellings, as well as television series and episodes, many with titles derived from Freaky Friday. This list features exchanges between two beings, and thus excludes similar phenomena of body hopping, spirit possession, transmigration, and avatars, unless the target being's mind is conversely placed in the source's body. Excludes, which means not included. Okay, well I don't know what transmigration means, so let's open that up right quick. Reincarnation, also known as rebirth or transmigration, is the philosophical or religious belief that the non-physical essence of a living being begins a new life in a different physical form or body after biological death. Well, to be fair, it's not really Steve starting a new life as he is resuming the old one in another person's body, but this still comes pretty close to describing what Steve's presence is in this story. So, with all this information gathered, it actually disproves his own defense. Hell, practically his first sentence. It's not a body-swapping situation. If you can see that Patty Jenkins was playing with that trope, no, I saw her playing with it. I saw the movie. And even intentionally pointing out the problematic nature that all these movies have to skirt around. When? When did the movie point out the problematic nature? After Diana and Steve got some snoo-snoo and her line of, "my boyfriend into another man's body"?
I should probably go and figure out how a stone brought my boyfriend back in someone else's body.
It's played off like it's a joke toward the end when Diana doesn't want to talk about it. Even then, the problematic nature that's brought up is Diana not wanting to give up her boy toy and Steve wanting her to experience life out in the world. In fact, if anything, Steve suggests to Diana to be with this guy.
There's a world out there full of so many better guys, for one. I mean, look at how about this guy? How about him?
Oh, there's problems, all right, but none of them are addressed in this movie. Then I think you need to re-examine a beloved 80s fantasy movie like Big with Tom Hanks, where he, as a 12-year-old in an adult body, has sex with an adult female, making her a statutory rapist by default. Okay, so legit, I've never seen Big. I know that's probably sacrilegious, but is that true? Because if so, no, I have a big problem with that. Also, the movie implies that if you revoke your wish, then much of the impact of your wish is revoked. Hence, even the sex Diana had with the guy possessed with Steve may have actually been eradicated from the movie's fabric of reality. Strange phrasing, may have, implying that it may not have, so unless the movie explicitly says otherwise, this is pure conjecture and excuses made on behalf of the film that should be providing clarification on this matter. But fine, let's pretend that's how it works. Wish revoked, sex taken back. We, the audience, know what happened. The fake universe logic does not apply to the real world logic. Nothing is made okay. He would go on to make another post that would clarify his defense of the film. I'm not going to read the entire thing this time. Basically what it says though, the movie itself is saying that all of this is problematic, that Diana and Steve's actions are a problem by virtue of the dream stone being evil. The stone is evil, therefore everything that it does is automatically bad. While I can see where he's coming from with that, and I can see a lot of people holding on to this as the excuse, that's too subtle of an implication. And the rest of the movie doesn't exactly reinforce that notion. All I see is smiling faces, bright and sunny colors, and happy peppy Hans Zimmer music. Everything is being played off like it's lighthearted, so I just can't agree. I believe this could be validated with one easy fix: if the stone never disintegrated. Imagine if the stone was being used like Jafar's magic hourglass from Aladdin and was essentially a character in of itself. Say that we have that scene play out all happy like it does, but we slow zoom out. The screen is slowly shaded purple. The music turns ominous, revealing the stone. And it's almost like it's watching them. Doing that anytime someone's wish is granted, like when Barbara tears off her fridge door. If that's how it worked, then this belief would be 100% valid, and I think far fewer people would be upset about it. Or better yet, have at least Steve be unaffected by the stone's influence. He may be the byproduct of the stone's power, but he should be the lucid one, rejecting Diana's sexual advances, reminding her that this isn't his body and something should be done about that first before they get too intimate. But of course, that's not what happens. What the movie is saying is at stake is Diana's powers. Even if Patty were to come forward, make a video that says, no, that's exactly what we were going for. This person got it right. It still wouldn't be that strong of a reinforcement. I agree that Jenkins didn't intentionally put this in here, but I do believe that it was misguided writing and directing that made this more problematic than it really should have. After seeing Kristen Wiig be a knockout in several ways that I'm too ashamed to go through, Lord pays a visit to Simon Stagg, played by Oliver Cotton. I remember this character. He was in that Justice League episode, Metamorphosis. He's the rich asshole that turned Rex Mason into Metamorpho because he was dating his daughter. Fun. Sorry, I love when I recognize characters like that. It makes me feel more nerdy. Anyway, Lord tricks Stagg into wishing that Lord's company was successful, and in return, he's out of the picture and won't get in his way. Now we're back to the Groner stuff. Once again, we have to have a clothes-changing montage. Why? We had one in the first movie and it was fine. This one is just... I mean, I get it, Steve is trying to adjust to modern fashion, but it was entirely unnecessary. But I admit, I was okay with this next sequence. The operatic music was definitely overdoing it, but I guess you couldn't have Steve be in this world without reacting to it. And I gotta say, yeah, it was kinda cute. Steve's first time being on an escalator, laughing at the idea that he actually thought he would fall, reacting to punk hairstyles, breakdancing, space shuttles, it is actually kind of endearing. Before seeing this movie, I did say to myself that I don't want this to be a reverse Fish Out of Water story, where Steve's like reacting to everything and Diana has to teach him how to live in this world. It's not quite that. There's actually kind of an acceptable compromise here, where it's not really the sole focus of Steve's character. Yes, every second of this is pure fluff, meant to distract us from the real plot, which should be the main focus. But I guess if you thought that all of these wishes were benign up to this point, maybe you'd think you could afford the diversion as well.
I wouldn't worry about us losing any focus.
Oh, boy.
We got focus to burn, baby.
Alright, Lord is getting investor calls. By the way, are all these people that are getting wished into helping, are they just coming out of thin air? Are they even real people? Jump to the next scene, and Barbara tells Diana about giving the Dreamstone to Lord, leaving to find Lord at his office, and we get our first taste of the cost of Diana's wish, her powers weakening.
Strong lock.
This 1 second of trying to blend in is pointless as they conveniently find the right room to go in. They discover the remains of the stone and discover that Lord is heading to Egypt.
You have a plane that can fly from here to Cairo in one shot. That is amazing. I want to fly one. I want to fly the plane. I want to fly this plane. Yeah?
That's not how it works. Modern planes function very differently than planes in World War I. We're really going with that, aren't we? Diana thinks that's a great idea, and they head to the nearest... Wait a minute! Why does Diana have an ID card for this place? What the hell did I miss? Also, you gotta love how they're just wandering around this place and there's no security patrolling the area. Now, I've got some real beef here. Much as I roll my eyes that Steve can just pilot this thing, and Diana forgetting to mention about radar, this is what really started ticking me off. By this point in these movies, I wasn't really expecting to see the iconic invisible jet. Hell, even in the Justice League cartoon, we never saw the thing until Unlimited. I was always whatever about it anyway. But I sure as hell didn't expect it to be some random jet that Steve picked out, and I sure as fuck didn't expect it to be invisible because Diana knew a spell. And if I may, I won't pretend to know the details of the invisible jet. Maybe it's because she knew a spell, or it was Amazonian technology and it was just a button press or whatever. I don't know. But even the explanation here for how to turn things invisible, she just happens to know that. Even better, in 60 years, she's only been able to do it once, and it was a coffee cup that she lost. Even better, it just works. She just does it. How wonderfully convenient. That's one bottle down. Alcohol poisoning, here I come.
What's that?
Oh, it's okay. Just fireworks.
Yeah, okay, that's a pretty visual. But now we get one of the more pointless scenes in the movie. I'm assuming this is the research that Diana asked Barbara to do for her. But what baffles me, and many on the internet, she goes for a run.
Why?
You want to know why? Because they want to strong-arm a half-assed message about harassment. But in story, this is never explained. The next time we see Barbara isn't for a while, and when we do, she's at her desk researching. Seriously, delete these scenes and you miss nothing. We're in Egypt and Lord tricks this wealthy dude out of his oil and security team. And we catch up to Diana and Steve, who catch up to Lord. That's a taxi. I don't think that's his car to give away. And that didn't look like a whole lot of money, so how long is that going to get him by after he loses his job for selling the taxi that isn't his to a pair of strangers? Also, how far away is he from the nearest town? Glad to see we're considering the average Joe in this movie. Also, take note that she can run just as fast as any of these vehicles in the upcoming action scene. No! We're regressing to old DC bullshit! Speaking of the upcoming action scene, yeah, I actually kind of like it for the most part. Yes, the green screen is very subpar. I think we should be used to it with this movie by this point, but there's still a level of creativity to it. She pushes an entire truck for cover against machine gun fire, she uses metal debris to quickly traverse the playing field, and more importantly, Diana actually gets injured. I don't know what it is, but when near invulnerable heroes are finally made vulnerable, suddenly the stakes feel raised. That's not to say this sort of thing doesn't happen in superhero flicks, but half the time it just feels arbitrary. Fight scene, therefore a couple of bruises. Here, the blood that Diana sheds is given some real weight, and we're realizing that her weakened strength, that migraine that she had earlier, the situation is far worse than anyone realized. So now she has to fight more strategically, be smarter about her moves. I mean, so much for that, but that was pretty freaking cool. Diana lands on Lord's vehicle, tells him she wants the stone, but Lord tells her that he is the stone. Alright, okay, movie. This was a pretty cool stunt. Where the special effects fail, the practical stuff picks up the slack. Diana sees some kids in danger, rides a freaking rocket to them, and saves them. Or not. No. At least one of those kids has 100 broken bones. You know, one would think that Diana should have just punched through that windshield, grabbed Lord, and just started asking him questions when they were safe. Failing that, it's not like her weakened powers were affecting her super speed, so there's no reason why she couldn't continue the chase. I know Diana was injured, but a majority of Lord's security was defeated. Recovering Lord at this stage should have been relatively easy. But like I said, Lord gets away, and Diana and Steve see the chaos in his wake. Diana calls Barbara to see if she figured anything else about the stone, and says some random-ass dude knows about the stone. Okay, fine. They decide to go see this guy, and
Bye.
with this rando's help, Diana discovers that it was a very bad god that made the stone, and suddenly everything comes together. Make a wish, the stone grants it, but takes away something that you value, and cold reality starts seeping in after realizing what exactly Lord meant when he said that she was looking at the stone. Gee, if only you'd taken a couple extra minutes to recover him after you fell from your lasso, you might not have made your job 1,000 times harder. As Lord deals with his newfound success, he handles it pretty well.
And you have Alistair for the night.
Alistair, again? How many weekends do I have? What, when, tonight?
Or he acts like a total prick. Who was the person that said that Lord is not a true villain? Nah, he is. He's leaving behind carnage and ruined lives, hurting his son's feelings. And seriously, he's such a dick of a father that he doesn't know what weekends he has his son on. Diana and Steve are coming up with their next move when Steve has to mention the elephant in the room, saying that she has to renounce her wish in order for her to stand a chance against Lord. I admit, when I first saw this, I had my issues. Diana being selfish at the expense of innocent lives, no, that was a problem for me. But I hate to say it, in this case, I think Dusty Don't Shoot was right. Diana is under the influence of the stone. Make no mistake, I think there was a lack of creativity in showing that it is the corruption of the Dreamstone rather than Diana being a total twat. Like I've been saying for some time now, purple, or something to subtly signify that the stone is screwing with Diana's mind and convictions. And Steve, being the one who is unaffected by the stone, trying to talk some sense into her, but failing. Yes, I concede that the stone is making Diana selfish. What I wish the movie would do is reaffirm that. It's too easy to believe otherwise. Steve gets a history lesson about Asteria and her golden armor. Can I watch a movie about that instead? But then Diana and Steve discover that Lord is on his way to meet the President of the United States and offers Hammy acting, his greatest wish, and from the President gains his influence and respectability. Why isn't Diana affected by that? Why isn't she looking at him respectably?
Top secret program that enables us to override any broadcast system in the world.
Jesus Christ, Mr. President, lay off the coke, my dude! In any case, the President gives Lord his next objective. Take control of the thingamajig, which gives him access to every TV on the planet and more bad guy stuff. He's on his way to do those things, but Diana stands in his way, and yeah, pretty cool action scene. You've got Diana spinning the lasso around, protecting them from gunfire. I've never seen the lasso used like that, so kudos. And again, I like how these security guys are getting lucky shots in on Diana. Though I would say that the slow-mo is getting a little overused. Except for that, a wee bit silly, but the good kind of silly. The action is one of the few good things in this sucker. I'll take it. Just as it seems the good guys won, we're reminded that there's two bad guys in this flick. Quick, wish for everyone to revoke their wishes and everything to go back to the way it was!
Huh? What do you wish for? Do you want to be a real boy?
No.
Just not to be handcuffed to you, but now I am.
Or not? Wait, can he refuse to grant a wish? I gotta hand it to her. When Wig is allowed to be intimidating, it kinda works. Upon a second viewing, I've come to realize that there was something to this. Wig's performance as the villain, she can pull it off. She's great acting pissed off, like she wants to tear off everybody's head. Even her evil sarcasm is kind of on point.
Dumb little old me. Dumb little poor little nothing, nobody me.
I gotta say it. I think Wig would have made an excellent Cheetah had she been given material that would have done her talent justice. Then she complains like a fucking emo teenager.
You've always had everything.
She's always had everything? Can we be a little more specific there? What are you basing that on? Good looks, confidence, knowledge of self-defense? Put on some figure-hugging clothes and take a class. I guarantee you by that point you would have solved at least 2 of those problems. How low must your self-esteem be that counts as everything? I get that's the point of her character, but it's such an adolescent view for a grown-ass woman.
While people like me have had nothing.
You know what? Forget I just said anything. That was far worse to say. Woman, you are a geologist, gemologist, lithologist, and part-time cryptozoologist, which kept you busy in college. Gee, a white woman with multiple degrees in multiple fields. Well, I question the cryptozoologist thing. Apparently no actual university teaches that subject outside of some rare occasions for like 1 semester. You work at a prestigious museum, getting paid to do something that you're passionate about. You live in a sizable, presumably expensive apartment. Boo fucking who for you? Won't please someone think of the poor, successful, and well-educated white woman. Fuck right off. I hate to keep bringing up Justice League. Who am I kidding? It's my favorite animated show. I love bringing it up. There's an episode called Fury, which tackles misandry. Basically, a rogue Amazon is trying to make a poison that specifically kills men, even successfully taking out the likes of Superman and Batman. While Wonder Woman clearly isn't letting this slide, one of her big character traits is how much she struggles with the world of mankind. At one point, she even debates with Hawkgirl about Amazonian teachings and a bit of fun with the importance of men.
She was never really one of us.
I think she fits in pretty well.
How can you say that?
Arisha's just taking your precious Amazon code to its logical extension.
We don't teach hatred.
Except when it comes to men. They seem to be on top of things. Impressive.
Almost reminds me of home.
Yes, but who wants to live in a world without men?
They can't possibly be that essential to your life.
Don't knock it till you've tried it, princess.
Why does this 20-year-old cartoon, Jesus fucking Christ, 20-year-old cartoon, feel like a more mature Wonder Woman outing than this actual Wonder Woman movie?
Oh, what is it costing you? Forget about me. What is it costing you?
Her powers? In retrospect, her loss is pretty lopsided. If she stopped being Wonder Woman, the wish would have worked out perfectly. And if Steve had his own body so the sex wouldn't be weird. Okay, yeah, there's a few hoops that this logic would need to jump through, but all things considered, it's not costing her that much.
If you go after Max Lord, or hurt him in any way, I will destroy you.
The previous movie showed that in order to earn cheesy lines, you had to be a good movie first. Though yeah, Wig's delivery of that line is pretty legit. Lord escapes with Barbara, and we get an eyeful of what carnage he's wrought upon the world. Well shit, this became hauntingly relevant.
Yeah, it's someone else.
Wait, so all of this civil unrest is because of wish granting? How the hell did he find the time to grant so many random wishes when he's been busy globetrotting and dealing with the success of his company? I mean, I guess you could argue that it took time to get to this point, but this widespread? Hey, that guy was white. Everyone knows cops only beat up black guys. Okay, back to more serious stuff. I do really like this scene of Diana and Steve saying goodbye. I think in a better movie, I would have legitimately choked up. Swinging back around to when Steve wished they had more time, if done right, would have made this moment so powerful. Almost like Diana and Steve living the life they got cheated out of so long ago. At the very least, I love the idea that Diana and Steve got to say a relatively proper send-off. I mean, look at this. Touching his face like she's desperately trying to memorize how he feels, how she squeezes his neck, Steve's distant farewell, and I can't help but be a sucker for the dramatic don't look back moments. Had this movie been better, Gal's acting would have broken my heart. But because the emotions are not earned, it's really difficult to truly get invested. And for the millionth time, I wish there was some sort of subtle implication that the stone has been influencing Diana's mind and Steve is breaking through that influence, giving her the clarity she needs to renounce her wish. I want to like this scene more than I do.
All right, I'm back and I'm much more sober.
Not that anyone would know this, but before seeing this movie, I was kind of secretly hoping that Wonder Woman would fly. Diana not flying feels so weird to me. Having grown up on the Justice League cartoons, yes, all things lead back to Justice League, I just assumed that's one of her powers. Probably explains why I never understood the invisible jet. It felt redundant. That's not to say that I haven't seen iterations of her not flying. The 2009 animated Wonder Woman didn't fly, and I was okay with it, mostly because it was a good movie. Wonder Woman didn't fly in the 2017 film, and I was fine with it, mostly because it was a good movie. By 2017's Justice League, I came to grips that I wasn't gonna see Wonder Woman fly. But, like I said, I was kind of hoping she would here. Yeah, it flies in the face of continuity. But you know what? I don't think I respect Justice League enough in order to care about continuity by this point. And you're talking to someone who actually doesn't have that big of a problem with it. Man, I just wanted to see Wonder Woman fly.
Give it to me. Now.
Technically, I got my wish. So I'm going to be pretty forgiving of the randomness, which it kind of is. But hey, both arms out in front of you, Wonder Woman. The one out is Superman's thing. Back to the villains on the chopper, Lord reveals that he can grant Barbara another wish. So you don't get just one wish? I feel like an easy workaround is to say, just renounce your wish and wish again. I'm taking shots in the dark. I've given up on this movie by this point.
I'll rebuild my health wish by wish, organ by organ. If I have to.
Why haven't you been doing that? All those random-ass people that you've been granting wishes to, not once you've wanted their good health in return?
I don't want to be like anyone anymore. I want to be number one, an apex predator.
Excellent. From this day forward, you shall be known as the sperm whale. No. The lapid-faced vulture. No. The honey badger. No. The polar bear.
Oh my god, it's the polar bear!
No. The leopard cat. Yeah, apparently that's an apex predator. Maybe Google's lying to me, but if it is, I don't want to know. Point is, y'all know there's quite a few apex predators out there. Why specifically a cheetah? Okay, fine, you can pull the whole remember the thing that she did, so it's gotta be in the feline family. Well, lions, tigers, jaguars, even in terms of cats, there's a few to pick from. Why a cheetah? In the comics, if I understand correctly, Barbara Minerva was with like a shaman woman in an African tribe, and they worshipped a cheetah goddess, whom she eventually gets possessed by. That's why a cheetah in the comics. Lord and Barbara arrive at their destination to assume direct control.
I am assuming direct control.
Tricks the nearest dude into a wish, and in return, I take your good health! Also, doesn't he need to, like, touch them physically? I'm just saying, these wish-granting powers officially have no consistency. Wait, why do you need the golden armor? And how far did you travel when you were flying? I have no sense of location anymore. How can he hear the wishes? Not every monitor is an intercom. Well, that took you a while! Yeah, that's cool. Lucky that you happen to have the exact same body type and build as Asteria. By the way, are the wings very necessary? We kind of learn later on that they don't exactly protect that well.
What did you do?
Oh, thank God she looks better than Cats. No! I am done with that movie! It can't hurt me anymore. It's 2021. It can't hurt me. Cats can't hurt me.
Nothing good is born from lies, Barbara.
What lies? Who's lying? Why is this the message of the movie? You had a perfectly good one to use. Let's go back to the beginning. I don't know about the rest of you, but the lesson that I saw being set up was don't cheat your way to the top. If you want something, you have to work hard at it. If you make mistakes, own up to it and learn from it. That's a brilliant message to put out there, especially to little girls that might see this. But what the hell is lying doing in this? Yes, Diana was about to lie and likely use that as a means to justify her actions, but she's a kid. The lesson should never be lying is bad. That's such a narrow-minded lesson to teach anyway. Lies can be used for positive outcomes, it just depends on the context.
He used to say that artists use lies to tell the truth while politicians use them to cover the truth up.
If that's the lesson you wanted to teach, then fine, it's a good one. But that's not the lesson that was being taught here. It's work hard for what you want. Much as I want to love this action sequence, there's a glaring problem with it. It lasts 4 minutes. Yes, I timed it. From 2 hours, 6 minutes, 52 seconds, and ends just shy of 2 hours, 10 minutes, 52 seconds. Give or take a few seconds off. Even Cheetah's total screen time is just 2 hours, 6 minutes, 30 seconds to 2 hours, 11 minutes, 12 seconds. That's still less than 5 minutes, plus an extra 6 seconds during Diana's speech to the world. But still, that is utterly pathetic. Cheetah is one of Wonder Woman's very few well-known supervillains, if she has that many that the average Joe and plain Jane would know about. Hell, even before seeing the Wonder Woman movie, the only reason I knew about Ares and Cheetah is because I watched Justice League and played the Injustice video games. They're the only two that ever seem to get prominently featured. Of course she has many others, but again, how many common folk know them? In any case, this movie needed to really build a rivalry between these two adversaries. 5 minutes worth of screen time for Cheetah is unacceptable in my book. By the way, she got electrocuted.
And she's okay.
Why should I question things anymore? Diana confronts Lord, but he holds her back with his wind powers? Wait, what? One would think this would mean the end of his wish-granting powers, because now he's not even on screen anymore. But hey, 18 more minutes left on this sucker. Let's drag it out just a bit more.
I'm a forgiving man!
Oh my God, shut the fuck up.
You want him back?
I've never wanted anything more. Everything has a price, one I'm not willing to pay.
Again, the price you paid was your superpowers. If you gave up being Wonder Woman, you were in the clear. You could have lived your happily ever after with Steve.
You can't stop me! No one can!
I wasn't talking to you.
How convenient that it works like that. Deus Lasso Machina.
A world where there were loved.
In a better movie, I would care about this traumatic backstory. This is not a better movie. I do not care about this traumatic backstory. Anyway, we're almost done here. Diana manages to convince Lord to renounce his wish, as well as the rest of the world. For some reason, Barbara renounces hers. Lord quickly reunites with his kid. And oh, all's well that ends well. On Christmas, runs into Handsome Man again.
It's him! The handsome man!
And that's the end of the movie. Oh, and a cameo by Linda Carter. Yeah, that was nice. 1984. I still don't like it. There's just so much dumb in this movie that one has to wonder what did happen. I feel like it goes to show that some directors really shouldn't have this level of creative control, because the difference in quality between this movie and the original Wonder Woman is night and day. The first film was challenging, thematic, and for a lack of better phrases, wonderful. But this has a highly confused message. Barely any Wonder Woman action or cheetah. The acting from the villains is total cringe, especially from Pedro Pascal. And there's some extraordinarily suspect moments that make me feel legitimately icky. But with all that said, it still does enough for me to like it. I still love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. She still has great chemistry with Chris Pine, so pretty much the heroes hold it up for the most part. Despite how sparse the action is, what is there is exciting. When Wig is allowed to be villainous, she steals the show, and I can appreciate an ending where the hero has to convince the villain to stop their deeds, rather than a full-on fight. But most of the compliments I can give have negativity woven into them. As forgiving as I am for some of them, it doesn't save it from being an objectively bad flick. It's not a good movie, and I still don't like it, but I still don't hate it either. My honest rating for Wonder Woman 1984, a weak 3 out of 5. For the remainder of this video, I'm going to rank it, and then I'm going to talk about what I would personally like to see in the third installment, which has been confirmed. Let's go ahead and rank it. We all know that it's not going to make my top 3. That is just heartbreakingly out of the question. It's on the bottom of the list somewhere. Is it better than Suicide Squad? No. Squad is more consistently fun. I would rather watch Suicide Squad than this. The real question is it better than BVS? Both are disappointing films, and both come from a previous installment that I really enjoyed. Both do have a significant amount of dumb in them. The hype for going into BVS was meh for me, especially when I learned that it was an unjustified face-off between two characters that have barely been established. So therefore, my hype for 84 was much higher, therefore the disappointment should hit harder, despite the fact that there were articles trying to warn me otherwise. But I guess even with those warnings that I was trying to ignore, I guess I was low-key trying to brace myself for disappointment. Not by much, but I was. But I do love Wonder Woman far more than I love Man of Steel. Especially these days, where Wonder Woman seems to only get better the more I watch it, and Man of Steel kind of just gets a little bit worse. The heroes in BVS feel a little more insulting and not like how fans know them, whereas with Wonder Woman you can kind of explain her actions in a very loose way. But you know what, let's just jump to that question. Which would I rather watch, 84 or BVS? Tie me to a chair and force me to make a decision. What would I rather watch? You know what? I'm going with 84. I will never argue with anyone who thinks that this is the worst installment of the DCEU. It is really hard to argue with that. However, 84 does have its moments that I do personally like. Not many, but they do exist, and far more than BVS did. And like I said, the fan servicey elements do kind of elevate it for me. At the end of the day, it's simply my personal preference. Now for the things that I want to see in Wonder Woman 3. Let's start with the behind-the-scenes stuff. For the love of God, please make sure that there's someone in power who can fight against the worst of Jenkins' ideas. I think this was a case of her having too much creative freedom. It should be stated that she did have creative freedom in the first movie, but she didn't write the screenplay. Alan Heinberg did. Here, she wrote the script with two other guys, so who really knows who's to blame here for the writing? Clearly, too many cooks in the kitchen, so maybe everyone deserves a fair share of the blame. Though I think Jenkins and Jeff Johns deserve more of the blame, because they'd been working on the script for a few months before Dave Callahan was brought on board. Though it does look like she's being announced as the writer, though no one else has been. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, she was the sole writer for Monster, and that was a critically acclaimed movie, right? Yeah, won an Oscar. I mean, not for anything that Jenkins did, but maybe it would be a safe bet if she was the sole writer for 3. As for characters and story and all that, modern day, please. No more time jumps, let's make it contemporary. Any more of that, and we run the risk of really fucking up with the continuity for the DCEU. Provided it hasn't already been butchered, but... I mean, it's not on the level of X-Men, but still. As for a villain, my top pick would be Silver Swan. Ever since seeing Wonder Woman Bloodlines, I have been utterly fascinated by this character, and saw her as the tragic figure that Barbara was supposed to be in '84. Of course, this may end up being a little repetitive, considering we just introduced the golden armor that has wings on it. And I'm kind of with the critics on this one, who say I'm tired of seeing the Dark Mirror villains.
Vanessa. Vanessa's dead. It's Silver Swan now.
So maybe Giganta? That'd probably be the smartest choice.
Out of my way, Jumbo.
Ow! That hurt.
Maybe Cersei? As much as I love that episode of Justice League Unlimited, The Little Piggy, which features the hilarious Cersei, I think going too light was one of the big weaknesses of '84. If that episode of This Little Piggy is a true representation of who Cersei is.
Insolent trickster, you dare to strike. Oh, you dare to strike. Ow! You dare to strike. Ow! Quit it! Oh no!
Dr. Psycho, maybe? I think his character would need a huge overhaul. A straight-up sexist villain who is short might set off the wrong minorities. Or SJWs.
Did I say hard pass? I meant soft accept. I want to join your crew. Not because I think working for a female will help rehabilitate my ruined image, blah, 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 blah. It's for other reasons. I don't hate women!
Kinda seems like you do.
I was reading about this Queen Clea. That would be interesting, though I would probably argue that would be better suited for a future crossover with Aquaman, because, well, she's an Atlantean. But that's, like, way too far into the future to care. I don't know. Like I said, personal preference would be Silver Swan, though I think it's more likely we'll see Giganta. As for story, I would like to see a return to Themyscira. An official return, not a flashback. See how Diana and Hippolyta interact with each other after being apart for so long. What would that be like? I just think that's too good of an idea to pass up. Doesn't have to be for the whole movie, but I just think a trip back to Themyscira in the present day would be nice. But no specific plot points from comics or cartoons. My creativity's not that high. But yeah, there we have it. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there. Please wear a mask if you go out. Hope to see you soon.